I a plant hoarder or a plant collector? I don't know, but we're gonna find out today. Stay tuned. Hello beautiful plant people, my name is Yana. Welcome back to the channel. So today I had a little bit of free time on my hands, and like any other person does, I decided to take a quiz. And not only was it a standard quiz, but it was a quiz about being a hoarder. I wanted to know if I'm a plant collector or if I'm a plant hoarder. And you know, from time to time I take these quizzes, whether it is Game of Thrones, whether it is to see what kind of Disney princess I am, or to see what house I belong to in Harry Potter, Ravenclaw. I take these quizzes every once in a while just to see where my mindset is, to get a little bit more insight into my personality, you know, things like that. So in this quiz, I found one on Psych Central, and it was probably a 20 question quiz just to give me a little bit more insight into my shopping habits, my clutter, declutter mentality, and things like that. So on this quiz, it has a spectrum of if you're not a hoarder to if you have a serious hoarding issue. If you range from a 0 to a 34, you most likely don't have a hoarding problem. If you're 35 to a 40, a hoarding problem could be possible. 41 to 60, it could be more than likely. And if you range from a 61 and up, you probably have a serious hoarding issue. So when taking this quiz, you know, it asks you things about how you shop, how you feel about getting rid of things, how you feel about just saving things in your home, how cluttered your home is. And so answering these questions, I scored an 18. So it's not possible that I have a hoarding problem. And what I liked about this quiz is that it broke it down even further into 3 categories. And those categories were clutter, difficulty discarding, and excessive acquisition. So on clutter, I scored an 8, which shows me that yes, I do have a lot of plants, but it's not to the point of which it, you know, changes the functionality of my home. You know, I still have plenty of walking space. I would be able to access my couch. I'd be able to wash dishes in the back. I don't have a whole bunch of, you know, plants on the counter, so it doesn't change the overall functionality of my home. And which is very important because as, you know, we're collecting these plants and, you know, we're finding places to put them in our home, we don't want to just collect so many plants that we have to change everything in our home. You know, it's okay to rearrange things, you know, every season or, you know, as plants grow. And if you can't function in your home like you normally would, if you're not able to watch TV with your family, or if you guys aren't able to eat at the dinner table or things like that, then you might have to rethink how you're collecting these plants, because you should still be able to function. You should still be able to wash dishes. You should still be able to shower. You should still be able to eat, you know, things like that. So that's what I learned from the first category of clutter. What I learned about the second category was that I scored a 5. In difficulty discarding, obviously I don't have difficulty discarding plants that don't bring me joy or plants that give me a hard time. And while yes, sometimes I feel guilty about getting rid of plants or giving them to somebody else, I know that in the long term it'll serve me mentally, that I don't feel the need to keep every single plant that doesn't do well in my home. And that's what I learned in this category of having a 5, is that I don't have an issue of transitioning out plants that just don't work for me. And then the third category is excessive acquisition. And I was a little surprised to see that this category was low as well. I got a 5 in this category. I thought I would have scored higher because I do have periods of time that I will buy a lot of plants. For example, during quarantine, I bought a ton of plants. If not, most of my plant collection was accumulated during quarantine, like the earlier stages of quarantine. I'd say like that March to May kind of area was when I got a bulk of my plant collection. And then thinking about quarantine and just my spending habits, I do now understand that I do go through periods of time of where I buy a lot of plants, and then I'll have a lull where I don't really buy plants, or I'll just buy a sprinkle, and then I'll buy a lot of plants, and then I'll go back to my lull. And usually this happens, I have this peak when there's something stressful that's going on in my life, or when I'm not really thinking about my budget. I'll go through this high point of my purchases, and it won't really come back down until I have that come to Jesus moment where I'm just like, girl, you can't keep doing this. You don't have enough space. This is taking up a lot of time. This is taking up a lot of your money. Your bank account is not happy with you right now. And then I'll see that lull start to come back. And so it's just interesting when you sit back and you take quizzes, you can just learn different things about yourself and your shopping habits or your spending habits or just how you think about things. And so I just wanted to put this out there that, while we can be plant collectors, it is so easy to also be a plant hoarder. And while I do find that there is a spectrum and that it's very fluid, you could be on the spectrum at any point, it's very easy to go to that hoarding side, because sometimes we could have hoarding tendencies. I have hoarding tendencies, and then I have a period of time where I'm just like, I need to declutter, and it happens with everything. So I just wanted to create this video to see where we all fall on this spectrum. Hoarders, they have this compulsive need to collect items, and they don't really have a rhyme or reason of where they put the items, but then they do have a serious difficulty of getting rid of such items. And it is a serious mental health issue, and we're not here to make light of this issue, but I'm just here to bring awareness and to see where we fall on the spectrum. We are collectors. We proudly display our plants, whether it be on shelves, on windowsills, on the floor. We are displaying our plants because we are passionate about our plants. But like I said, it's so easy to fall on that side of hoarding if we're not careful. So I just wanted to see where I fell on the spectrum, and I want to know where you guys fall on the spectrum. Do you guys think that you're plant collectors or hoarders? Do you ask yourself these questions? I ask myself these questions a lot. So comment down below if you think you're a plant hoarder, plant collector, or if you're somewhere in the middle. I'm just curious to know. But I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll put up another subscriber comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. What?